Hello, Dr. Keith Smith with you, Surgery Center of Oklahoma. Thanks for joining me. Here are a couple of ideas for you when you're in a debate or you're talking with someone about free market healthcare. When they ask you, well, yeah, but what about the poor? When I'm asked this, I usually ask a question back. Which poor? Which individuals are you talking about? I think it's important to consider the plight of the poor as individuals instead of in the aggregate. To discuss the poor in the aggregate invites them directly into the gun sights, I believe, of the faraway do-gooder central planners that manufacture all these schemes for them, how to run their lives and ruin their lives typically. The other thing I ask is, or I'll respond is to say, well, I know my intentions toward the poor. What are yours? Asking this question points out usually that the person asking the question intends for me to bear the burden entirely myself. It's always easier to spend other people's resources. It's important, too, not to consider the poor in an aggregate, because if you think about all of the money that a facility like Surgery Center of Oklahoma has saved patients, that again falls into the what is not seen, the Bastiat's concept of what is not seen, what is done with all of the money that is not spent because people have saved so much coming to our facility. You cannot consider the aggregate plight of the poor without also considering the aggregate savings of free market healthcare delivery. That's not an easy concept for many people, but many of you listeners understand exactly what I'm talking about. Invariably, these discussions end up with some accusation that you or me, as a free market healthcare advocate, we are completely opposed to a social safety net. I'm actually not opposed to a social safety net. I'm just opposed to an involuntary social safety net where the holders of the net are held at gunpoint as hostages, basically. I had the pleasure of meeting David Beito, B-E-I-T-O, when I appeared on the Stossel Show recently. He's a brilliant historian, and I would encourage you to go to YouTube and watch some of his lectures. He's written a book called From Mutual Aid to the Welfare State. Here it is on my Kindle. I don't know if you can see that or not. There it is. From Mutual Aid to the Welfare State. In this book, he gives the history of how mutual aid and fraternal societies were formed prior to Lyndon Johnson's Great Society, where the poor were very well taken care of, including their health care needs. This is a fabulous book, and I recommend it. I would talk more about it, but I'm only halfway through it. But just halfway through it, I'm so excited about it, I wanted to recommend it to all of you. These are just some ways I think that you can be better armed and better educated and better prepared if you wind up in a discussion with someone who hopefully is inclined to change their mind about some things. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.